keynote speaker, Mr. LaVar Burton.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Good morning. Oh, I know there's more spirit in Gettysburg than that. And so I say again, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. It is a good morning, isn't it? I'd like to thank the Reverend here and all of the people at the Lincoln Fellowship, my hosts at the Lincoln Foundation, the Gettysburg Foundation, Gettysburg College, our friends at the Gettysburg National Military Park for their kind invitation for me to be here with you this morning. It has come to my attention that it is a rare occasion indeed when two of the honored traditions here in Gettysburg, both Dedication Day and Remembrance Day, should fall by coincidence on the same calendar date. However, in truth and in full disclosure, I'm not a big fan of coincidence. And I choose to believe instead that there is purpose in all that transpires both in heaven and on this earth. And so, as we gather here on this day to pause and to reflect and to remember, I shall take my invitation to be here, to be part of some purposeful intent, and with your kind permission, will use the time graciously extended to me as an opportunity to share with you some of what is on my mind and in my heart these days. I will confess to you at the outset that recent events in America have caused my heart to be disquieted and full of dismay. And I have come here today to share the discomfort of my soul. When President Lincoln stood here 153 years ago today, our nation was then, as it is now, in turmoil. He was faced with an America not dissimilar from our own, an America reeling from the effects of a very costly conflict, a conflict that was rooted in the opposition of ideas as well as ideals, and very much like today, a conflict where combatants on both sides of the divide who were once neighbors, friends, even family, now harbored hearts full of anger, dissension, and distrust. In Lincoln's time, our nation was locked in a struggle over the issues of race and class and the direction of our national economy. And we proved ourselves willing to wage a bloody war over which among us was to have access to the tenets of our nation's founding, those being life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And 15 decades later, these very issues confront us still, and the promise of America has yet to be delivered to too many of her children. So I ask myself, exactly what part of all men are created equal do we continue to fail to grasp? No matter which candidate you supported in our most recent election, no matter which political ideology you embrace, we must finally come to the indisputable truth that we are indeed a house divided. And in another moment committed to our national memory, Abraham Lincoln once said, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." Not since the occasion we commemorate today has the chasm that separates us been so pronounced, so profound. So, where do we go from here, America? I put it to you that we are in this now moment, a nation faced with a crisis that truly has the power to tear us asunder. And unlike any outside force or influence, this crisis is one of our own making, and has been over the past 200 years fomented within the framework of our own history. Since our inception, the United States has revealed itself to possess a national character that is, at its best, conflicted. We have forged for ourselves a duality of identity that on the one hand professes a love of freedom while on the other engaging in the enslavement of our fellow man based solely on the color of one's skin. We say we treasure above all else a love of liberty, and yet we are willing to imprison over 100,000 of our Japanese brothers and sisters in internment camps during World War II. We claim to value justice while making legitimate through law and legislation the oppression of any and all that we can comfortably classify as other. And so, I ask again, what part of all men are created equal have I failed to understand? Whenever I have the opportunity to mention my mother in public, I do. Irma Jean Christian. That is my mother's name, Gene. I believe that I am the man that I am because she is the woman that she is. It is from my mother that I have inherited my love of language and the written word. In my mother's house, you either read a book or you were hit in the head with one. The choice was always yours. She wasn't particular about what choice you made, but she was determined that you were going to have an encounter with the written word. Irma Jean's first degree in English language and literature was from Philander Smith, an historically black college in Little Rock, Arkansas. She attended Kansas University for 2 years and then transferred to Philander and graduated at the age of 19. She was the first person in her family to go to college. Her first career was as an English teacher at the high school level. Her second career was in the field of social work. And after earning her second degree, a master's in social work from night school, while working a full-time job as a social worker during the day and raising 3 children by herself, my mother made it her priority to instill in me one of the most important values a human being can pass one to another. My mother taught me that there are no limits to what I could accomplish in this life, with the exception of those limits that I might self-impose. She instilled in me the importance of education because she knew that in America, a quality education is the ultimate leveler of the playing field. My mother knew that I would grow up and would one day inherit a world that would sometimes be hostile to my presence, simply because of the color of my skin. And she knew that the best thing she could do for me as my mother was to, in a world full of inequality, give me a tool with which I could compete more equally with my melanin-challenged classmates. She didn't sugarcoat it. My mother explained to me that my journey in life was not destined to be an easy one. The truth was, she told me, that as a black male in America, my life would be fraught with injustice and frustration with the unfairness of that injustice. She taught me how in America, the color of my skin all but guaranteed that my journey would be perilous, sometimes life-threatening. But she assured me that I had the wherewithal to overcome it all. With a fierceness and an intensity that indicated that my life depended on it, because it did. She drummed into me that I was capable of triumph over any adversity and that it was my right to define my destiny for myself. The way forward is clear, America. We must rededicate ourselves in earnest to the proposition that in this country, all men and women are created equal. And as such, we are all deserving and entitled to the dignity and respect we ourselves would want to be accorded. Otherwise, the dead which surround us here in this place will have died in vain. Abraham Lincoln once called America the last best hope of earth. I have always believed that about my country. I still do. Like you, I know myself to be a patriot. I consider myself a man who loves his country and strives daily to lend my efforts to those who are similarly committed to the ongoing greatness of America. Are we a perfect union? No, by no means, no. However, we have demonstrated time and time again that when we put our minds to it, great things are possible. That when we pull together, we are capable of triumph over any adversity. Ladies and gentlemen, as Lincoln said here 153 years ago today, there is a great task remaining before us. And once again, it is Lincoln himself who sets our course and lights the way for us all, and I will leave you with his words. The way is plain, peaceful, generous, just. A way which, if followed, the world will forever applaud and God must forever bless. He speaks for me, does Mr. Lincoln. The way is plain, peaceful, generous, and just. And I pray, America, that as a nation we find the courage and conviction to heed President Lincoln's sage advice. I thank you for your time, your energy, and attention. God bless us all. God bless America. If I may take just one more moment of your time, I had the great pleasure of having a private tour of the cemetery yesterday, and as you might imagine, it was pretty emotional from a Californian, for a Californian such as myself. Where's the 54th? Where are you? Where's the 54th at? I know they're here. There they are. There's the 54th. Good to see y'all. Good to see y'all. I'm glad you're here. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Dr. Janet Riggs, representing Gettysburg College, one of our prime sponsors, and Mr. Bob Kinsley, chairman of the Gettysburg Foundation Board. Representing the Department of Homeland Security, the United States Citizenship and Immigration Service, Lori Pietro-Poli and Michael Morgan. finally, representing the United States of America and all people, love of justice and freedom, the Reverend Stephen Hare, President of the Lincoln Fellowship, and Mr. LaVar Burton, our guest